All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I am Saira Mujtaba and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of new Parliament House building at Sansad Marg today. PM Vani scheme will revolutionize tech world and significantly improve Wi-Fi availability across the country, says Prime Minister. Polling underway for 5th phase of DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Uttar Pradesh government to set up 35,000 Kovit vaccine centres across the state. And after UK, Canada approves Pfizer's corona vaccine for people above 16 years of age. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of the new Parliament building at Sansad Marg in Parliament Complex today. The new building is an intrinsic part of the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. It will be a landmark opportunity to build People's Parliament for the first time after independence. The new Parliament building will match the needs and aspirations of New India in the 75th anniversary of independence in 2022. The new building is being constructed at a cost of 971 crore rupees, which will house more committee rooms and political parties' offices than the existing Parliament House. Our correspondent reports that the proposal for the new Parliament building was made by Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu and Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla during the proceedings of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha on 5th of August last year. Our correspondent has filed this report.
The new Parliament building will be modern, state-of-the-art and energy efficient with highly non-obtrusive security facilities to be built as a triangular-shaped building adjacent to the present Parliament. Lok Sabha will be 3 times of the existing size and Rajya Sabha will be substantially bigger. The interiors of the new building will showcase a rich blend of Indian culture and diversity of regional arts, crafts, textiles and architecture. The design plan includes space for a magnificent central constitutional gallery which will be accessible for the public. The construction of the new Parliament building will utilize resource-efficient green technology, promote environment-friendly practices, generate employment opportunities, and contribute towards economic revitalization. It will have high-quality acoustics and audiovisual facilities, improved and comfortable seating arrangements, effective and inclusive emergency evacuation provisions. With Dipendra Kumar, Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the historic PM Vani Wi-Fi Access Network Interface scheme, which was cleared by Cabinet yesterday, will revolutionize the tech world and significantly improve Wi-Fi availability across the length and breadth of India. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said it will further enhance ease of doing business and ease of living. He said the scheme will enable small shopkeepers to provide Wi-Fi service. The Prime Minister said this will boost incomes as well as ensure the youth gets seamless internet connectivity. It will also strengthen the Digital India mission. The Cabinet yesterday approved setting up of public Wi-Fi networks to provide public Wi-Fi service through public data offices without levy of any license fee. Communication and IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said it will promote growth of public Wi-Fi networks in the country and it will unleash massive Wi-Fi revolution in the country. Mr. Prasad said the Cabinet also cleared the provision of submarine optical fibre cable connectivity between mainland, Kochi and Lakshadweep Islands.
प्रधानमंत्री वाईफाई एक्सेस नेटवर्क इंटरफेस पीएम वानी ये देश में वाईफाई क्रांति की दिशा में एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण कदम है। सबसे पहले हम एक पब्लिक डेटा ऑफिस खोलेंगे। ये कोई परचून की दुकान हो सकती है, ये कोई चाय की दुकान हो सकती है, ये कोई छोटा सा कोई पब्लिक ऑफिस हो सकता है। हमारे लगभग 4.25 लाख कॉमन सर्विस सेंटर है जो गांव में, छोटे शहरों में डिजिटल सेवाएं देते हैं, वो ओवरनाइट इस पर आएंगे और कोई भी आ सकता है। वाईफाई अवेलेबल होगा, लाखों की संख्या में, करोड़ों की संख्या में लोग इसका उपयोग करेंगे, मोबाइल सब कुछ उपलब्ध रहेगा। पब्लिक डाटा ऑफिस के लिए नो लाइसेंस, नो रजिस्ट्रेशन, नो फी, और पब्लिक डेटा एग्रीगेटर और ऐप प्रोवाइडर के लिए 7 दिन के अंदर हम उनको रजिस्ट्रेशन देंगे.
The Cabinet also approved Universal Service Obligation Fund Scheme for providing mobile coverage in Arunachal Pradesh and 2 districts of Assam under the Comprehensive Telecom Development Plan for Northeastern Region. This project will provide mobile coverage to 2,374 uncovered villages at an estimated cost of implementation about 2,029 crore rupees, including operational expenses for 5 years. The Cabinet has approved Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana at an expenditure of 1,584 crore rupees for the current financial year. 22,810 crore rupees have been approved for the entire scheme period 2020 to 23. Labour and Employment Minister Santosh Gangwar said this scheme will benefit around 58.5 lakh employees. He said under the scheme, the government will provide subsidy for 2 years in respect of new employees engaged on or after 1st of October 2020 and up to 30th of June 2021. The government will pay both 12% employees' contribution and 12% employers' contribution, that is 24% of wages towards EPF in respect of new employees in establishments employing up to 1,000 employees. EPFO will credit the contribution in Aadhaar seeded account of members electronically.
कैबिनेट ने आत्मनिर्भर भारत रोजगार योजना को मंजूरी दी है. हमने इस महामारी को कैसे पॉजिटिव बदला जाए इसके हिसाब से काम किया है. कोविड-19 महामारी के परिप्रेक्ष्य में इस समय आत्मनिर्भर भारत योजना एक तरफ एक नए रोजगार सृजन की ओर आवश्यक प्रोत्साहन दे रही है, वहीं दूसरी तरफ हमने सीधे उद्योगों के रूप में उनको वित्तीय सहायता भी पहुंचाने का काम किया है.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the International Bharti Festival 2020 at 4:30 p.m. tomorrow via video conferencing. This year, the festival is being organized in virtual mode and will see the participation of several national and international poets and artists. The festival is being organized by Vanaville Cultural Center to celebrate the 138th birth anniversary of Mahakavi Subramanya Bharati. Polling is underway for the 5th phase of District Development Council DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Polling, which began at 7 this morning, will end at 2 p.m. Voting is taking place for 37 seats in this phase. More from our Srinagar correspondent.
Among 37 DDC constituencies, 20 are in Jammu and 17 in Kashmir division. Over 8,27,000 voters are eligible to cast their votes and decide political fate of 299 candidates in fray. 2,104 polling stations have been set up for today's polling, of which 1,119 are in Kashmir division and 914 in Jammu division. The polling is progressing smoothly. It began at 7 a.m. in the morning and will conclude at 2 in the afternoon. The earlier 4 phases of the 8-phased political process have seen a voter turnout of over 50% and process has been thus far fully peaceful. Mushtaq Ahmad Antre, AIR News, Srinagar.
By polls for 58 vacant seats, a Sarpanch and 218 punches are also taking place today. In view of the corona pandemic, adequate arrangements have been put in place to ensure the safety of all stakeholders, including voters.
In Assam, voting has begun for the second and final phase of Bodoland Territorial Council BTC polls in Chirang and Kokrajhar districts. Voting, which is being held for 19 seats, will end at 4:30 p.m. Over 10 lakh voters will decide the fate of 111 candidates in this phase. Counting of votes will take place on Saturday. A report from our Guwahati correspondent.
The second and final phase of BTC poll has begun at Chirang and Kokrajhar districts amid tight security. Additional security forces have been deployed at very sensitive polling booths. Large number of voters are queuing up in front of several polling stations since morning. District administrations have sanitized all the polling booths and thermal screening of voters are also being done. Most of the seats are likely to witness triangular or multi-corner contest. Like the first phase, the BJP, Bodoland People's Front, Congress, UPPL, AIUDF and independent candidates are also in the fray in this phase. Manas Pratim Sharma, AR News, Guwahati.
In Kerala, polling is underway for the second phase of local body elections. Voting is taking place in 5 districts, that is Kottayam, Thrissur, Ernakulam, Palakkad and Wayanad in this phase. More from our Thiruvananthapuram correspondent.
Kottayam, Ernakulam, Thrissur, Palakkad and Wayanad are the 5 districts where the second phase of local polls is going on. Voting began from 7 a.m. today and will continue till 6 p.m. 12,643 polling stations are set across the 5 districts. The end-day election process will be held adhering to strict COVID guidelines. The main contest is between CPM-led LDF, Congress-led UDF and BJP-led NDA. The final and third phase will be held on 14th of this month. Counting of votes will take place on December 16th. In the first phase of local poll that was held on 8th December, 73.12% polling was recorded. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
Uttar Pradesh government will prepare 35,000 COVID vaccine centers under 24-hour Cctv surveillance in the state. All vehicles carrying vaccines will also have the GPS, that is Global Positioning System, trackers. More from our Lucknow correspondent.
Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath held a high-level review meeting yesterday regarding the preparedness for COVID vaccination drive. He said that the state would set up 35,000 centers for the COVID vaccine and all of them would be put under camera vigil. He asked the health and home departments to prepare a foolproof work plan for secure storage and cold chain for COVID vaccines. He asked officials to use the previous experience of rubella and measles vaccination programs carried out in the state. Reminding them of the deadline, the Chief Minister asked the officials concerned to put in place safe storage facilities by December 15. Chief Minister virtually reviewed the training for master trainers for the vaccination which is being conducted by central government in state. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
The national COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 94.66%. With 36,635 discharges in the country in the last 24 hours, total recovered cases stand at 93,15,581. With 32,080 new COVID-19 infections, India's total cases has gone up to 97,35,850. The Health Ministry said 402 people lost their lives due to the pandemic in the last 24 hours. With this, the death toll has reached 1,41,360.
The News Services Division brings glimpses of the year that was in our special series Year Ender 2020. COVID-19 pandemic has been the biggest story of the year and India has seen a valiant fight against the disease under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Vaccine development has been a major challenge. After an all-party meeting last Friday, the Prime Minister announced that a COVID vaccine is expected in the country in the next few weeks. He said the world is looking at India for an affordable and effective vaccine.
अगले कुछ हफ्तों में कोरोना की वैक्सीन तैयार हो जाएगी। जैसे ही वैज्ञानिकों की हरी झंडी मिलेगी, भारत में टीकाकरण अभियान शुरू कर दिया जाएगा।
The science-based approach and constant monitoring has made India stand at the forefront in terms of development of COVID vaccines. 3 vaccines are now just waiting for their emergency usage approval. Talking to AIR News, Principal Scientific Advisor to the central government, Professor K. Vijay Raghavan said that the country is reaping the benefits of its investment and belief in foundational science, which in real terms has helped India sail through the times of a pandemic.
During this pandemic, India has in addition done extraordinarily well in becoming a developer of vaccines and new vaccines from here. And this is a great example of how investment in foundational science, basic science, pays off in an emergency. We are making really good quality vaccines. They are in late stages of trials. If they pass the trials, they'll do well. So India will now be both a manufacturer of vaccines, but also a developer of vaccines.
Here's a report from our correspondent who takes a look at India's journey towards search of a viable and effective COVID vaccine.
India manufactures nearly 60% of the total vaccine produced in the world. Standing true to its tag of being the pharmacy of the world, the country took up the Herculean task of coming up with a viable COVID vaccine even before WHO declared COVID-19 a pandemic on 11th March this year. A high-level group of ministers under the chairmanship of Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan was set up in the first week of February to prepare the country against the pandemic. India achieved the feat of isolating the virus strain along with just 4 other countries in the world much before even the first nation nationwide lockdown. The Department of Biotechnology and BIRAC constituted a COVID-19 consortium which swung into action at a time when the number of infected cases in the country was reported to be only around 500. The consortium extended financial assistance to multiple intending vaccine developers. Development of vaccines, which takes time of nearly a decade for evaluation and completion, were granted approval for clinical trials in a span of just 3 months, for which the drug regulator and the medical bodies relaxed their norms. Development and manufacturing of nearly 30 different vaccines is currently in the process in the country by firms which includes Bharat Biotech, Zydus Cadila, Serum Institute and Dr. Reddy's Lab, among others. Anticipating the uphill task of a national immunization program, which is also going to be the largest vaccination exercise in the history, a national expert group on vaccine administration for COVID-19 was formed by the Centre in August. The Centre is leaving no stones unturned to create the infrastructure and logistics required for early vaccination of its citizens, and at the same time has pledged to support the cause of humanity by assisting other countries in their immunization programs. Anand Chaturvedi, AIR News, Delhi.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of new Parliament House building at Sansad Marg today. PM Vani scheme will revolutionize tech world and significantly improve Wi-Fi availability across the country, says Prime Minister. Polling underway for fifth phase of DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Uttar Pradesh government to set up 35,000 Kovit vaccine centres across the state. And after UK, Canada approves Pfizer's corona vaccine for people above 16 years of age. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
The recovery rate of COVID patients in Delhi stands at 94.93%. The city recorded recovery of 4,177 patients in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of recovered patients to date to 5,69,216. A total of 2,463 new confirmed cases of coronavirus were reported in the national capital in the last 24 hours. With this, the total number of COVID cases reported in the capital so far has reached 5,99,575.
Gujarat recorded 1,318 new cases during the last 24 hours. The recovery rate has improved to 91.85%. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
The number of total cases of COVID-19 detected so far in Gujarat has reached up to 2,22,811. Out of these, 2,04,661 patients recovered. 1,550 patients recovered during the last 24 hours. More than 84,32,000 tests have been carried out till date. Maximum 280 new cases reported from Ahmedabad, while Surat recorded 212 new cases. At present, total active cases are 14,027, out of which 75 patients are on ventilator. 13 patients died yesterday. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
In Chhattisgarh, the number of corona-infected patients has crossed 250,000 mark. So far, more than 3,000 people have died due to COVID-19 in the state. We have more from our Raipur correspondent.
In Chhattisgarh, more than 228,000 COVID patients have recovered after treatment so far. The recovery rate is more than 91%. Currently, about 20,000 COVID patients are being treated in various hospitals or in home isolation. State Health Minister T.S. Singhdev yesterday held a meeting with senior officials of the Health Department to review the situation of corona infection as well as the preparations required for vaccination against COVID-19. So far, more than 8,000 vaccinators have been identified for vaccination. Health workers and Anganwadi workers are also being trained to be part of vaccination program. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
In Bihar, COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 97.33%. This is 2.67% more than the national average. The number of active cases in the state is continuously declining. Currently, 5,137 patients are undergoing treatment at various hospitals. Maximum 1,989 patients are undergoing treatment in Patna. In all, 707 patients recovered in the last 24 hours, while 690 new cases were reported.
The Ministry of External Affairs organized a tour of the heads of missions and their representatives to Hyderabad yesterday. The tour was organized in collaboration with the Department of Biotechnology, DBT, and Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, BIRAC. Foreign Ministry said that the group visited the research and manufacturing facilities of the leading biotechnology companies, Bharat Biotech and Biological E. The participants were briefed on India's indigenous efforts to develop COVID-19 vaccines, including ongoing clinical trials. India's R&D facilities, manufacturing capacity, foreign collaborations in the field of pharmaceuticals, including vaccine production, were highlighted to the visiting dignitaries. In an effort to guard against fake news being circulated on various platforms, we bring you our segment on Fact Check and Mythbusters. A private news channel reported yesterday that the application for emergency use of the vaccine by Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech has been rejected by the DCGI. The Health Ministry has termed the claim to be fake. Serum Institute, which is manufacturing the Oxford vaccine in the country, applied for emergency use approval of the vaccine on this Sunday, while Bharat Biotech manufacturing the indigenous COVID vaccine, Covaxin, had applied on Monday.
Canada has approved Pfizer's corona vaccine for people over the age of 16, opening the possibility of Canadians starting to receive it next week. Canadian health regulator Health Canada has said that it completed a full independent review of the data on the vaccine's safety and effectiveness. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said that the first doses of the Pfizer vaccine will arrive at 14 Canadian distribution centres next week. The first shipment of 2.49 lakh doses to Canada will come from plants in the United States and Belgium. In an effort to guard against fake news being circulated on various platforms, we bring you a segment on Fact Check and Mythbusters. An article claimed that CGHS beneficiaries can now undergo specific treatments at empaneled private hospitals without any referral or permission letter. The Press Information Bureau said the claim is fake and Health Ministry has not taken any such decision.
Karnataka Prevention of Slaughter and Preservation of Cattle Bill 2020 was passed in the State Legislative Assembly yesterday amid protests by the opposition. The bill will now go to the Legislative Council, the upper house, for approval. Once passed, the slaughter of cattle, smuggling, illegal transportation and atrocities on cows will be a cognizable offence and will attract 3 to 7 years of imprisonment and a fine that shall not be less than 50,000 rupees, extendable up to 5 lakh rupees. A second and subsequent offence will attract a fine not less than 1 lakh rupees, but which may extend to 10 lakh rupees along with imprisonment, which may extend to 7 years. A police officer of sub-inspector or higher rank or a competent authority has the power of search and seizure if they have reason to believe that an offence under this Act has been committed.
Agriculture Minister Narendra Tomar has reiterated government's stand that minimum support price will continue and APMC mandis will not be scrapped. In a series of tweets, Mr. Tomar said, no one can take away the land of the farmer for any reason and buyers cannot make any changes in the farmer's land. Mr. Tomar also said that the contractors cannot terminate the contract without full payment. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy has said the 3 farm laws brought by the centre are beneficial to the state farmers. He inspected the flood-affected parts in Nagapattinam and Thiruvarur districts yesterday. Later, talking to reporters, he said the farm laws would help to do away with the role of intermediaries in the marketing of farm products. He stressed that the farmers would get market prices for their harvests. He highlighted that the farmers in the state continue to get the minimum support prices for crops like paddy.
Government has said that over 356 lakh tons of paddy have been procured in the ongoing Kharif marketing season. The Agriculture Ministry said the government continues to procure Kharif crops at its minimum support price from farmers as per its existing MSP schemes. It said paddy procurement is continuing smoothly in the procuring states and union territories of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu, Chandigarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Bihar. Out of the total purchase, Punjab alone has contributed over 202 lakh tons, which is around 57% of total procurement. In Andhra Pradesh, situation in Eluru is returning to normal as the state government has taken timely steps to bring the situation under control following a mysterious illness. Out of 590 people who were admitted to the hospital, 542 have been discharged. And now let's take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital is expected to witness moderate fog today. Minimum temperature was 12 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 25 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature in the metropolis was 22 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 35 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have a partly cloudy sky as well. Temperature will hover between 23 and 31 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is also expected to have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Temperature will vary between 18 and 26 degrees Celsius. On to the north in Srinagar, rain or snow is expected today. Minimum temperature was 1 degree Celsius while maximum will be around 8 degrees. In Jammu, the lower level of temperature was 12 degrees Celsius while the upper level will be around 20 degrees. The city may witness mainly clear sky today. Leh will have partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards the afternoon or evening or night. The temperature dipped to -7 degrees Celsius while maximum will be around 5 degrees. In Gilgit, mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards the afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between -2 and 14 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have a partly cloudy sky. Temperature will hover between 5 and 14 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, temperature will hover between 10 and 26 degrees Celsius. The city will have a mainly clear sky. Chandigarh may witness partly cloudy sky. The temperature will vary between 11 and 26 degrees Celsius. Hyderabad, the temperature will vary between 14 and 30 degrees Celsius. The city will have a partly cloudy sky with haze.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Papers have covered different stories as their lead headlines. India's active caseload below 4 lakh for third straight day, writes the Statesman. The Hindu quotes the Supreme Court in its headline on the front page, quarantine posters not required. The Asian Age reports, 3 militants gunned down by security forces in Pulwama. The Pioneer quotes External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar in its headline, ties with China in most difficult phase. The same paper also writes about the results of the Panchayat polls in Rajasthan. Congress receives drubbing in Raj Panchayat polls at BJP's hands. And finally, in some good news, the Hindu writes, Cabinet nod for public Wi-Fi networks.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lay foundation stone of new Parliament House building at Sansad Marg today. PM Vani scheme will revolutionize tech world and significantly improve Wi-Fi availability across the country, says Prime Minister. Polling underway for 5th phase of DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Uttar Pradesh government to set up 35,000 Kovit vaccine centers across the state. And after UK, Canada approves Pfizer's corona vaccine for people above 16 years of age. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a great day.